dear 5th primary students, welcome back to our videos, and today we're going to tackle chapter 5 of the story The Railway Children. What we're going to do today, we're going to revise some of the most important events of the previous chapter, some preview questions to remember what you've prepared, main events that happened in the chapter, the most important quotes, and the chapter in points with a character sketch. The revision questions say, why was Mother angry when she heard about the old gentleman from the train? Mother was angry because she didn't want the children to beg for money or ask any stranger for help. She was poor, but not to the extent of begging for help from strangers. She had enough money to buy food, but not the extras that she needed when she got sick. Number 2 says, what was Roberta worried about during her birthday? And here we learned that Roberta was worried about Mother and how Mother was having nightmares or had nightmares about the doctor's bill and the money that she didn't have to pay the doctor. And when Roberta met the doctor on her birthday, she asked him to see about the bill. The doctor was kind enough and thoughtful, and he told her, or he promised her, that he would see about the bill. The third question says, which present did Roberta like the most? What did she do in return? Roberta's favorite present was the toy, the model railway, which was made up of different flowers. Peter gave her the toy train, or the model railway that she liked the most. So in return, she took his broken model engine and fixed it for him in the railway yard. The review questions say, and as usual, you should make sure that you've read and listened to the chapter carefully before starting. Whose train do you think the children will go to meet? What do you think the passengers on the train will be looking at? Why do you think the children won't be able to speak to the strange man? Chapter 5, A Man Who Needs Help. In here, we learned that the children's mother went to the next town on business, and the children decided to go to the station and wait for her train. They went early and waited at the waiting room to meet their friends and talk to them and play some games. It was a long time before a train came in, but it wasn't Mother's train. And the children didn't care to look at anything outside the waiting room because they were busy with their game. When they heard noise coming from people outside, they looked and saw a crowd of people. People were gathered around something, but the children didn't know what it was. At the far end of the platform, the children started heading there, and they tried to look and see what were the people gathered around. They couldn't see it until the station master came and the people let him pass. They saw a man who looked wild and ill, and his clothes were torn and dirty, and he was lying on the ground. He collapsed on the platform. A woman said that the man was on the train and he got off and fell down and he didn't have a ticket. So the station master tried to talk to the man. The man just looked at him and couldn't answer. So another passenger said that he thought the man was a foreigner. A foreigner was a person that didn't come from the same country. So people started guessing what the foreigner's country was. Peter thought he was French and started talking to him in French, but the man didn't understand anything because Peter's accent was very bad. And people started guessing whether he was German, Italian, or Norwegian. But Peter thought of a clever solution to that problem, and he got some stamps out of his pocket and started showing the man the stamps until the man stopped Peter at a Russian stamp. So Peter figured out that the man was Russian. And they figured that most of the Russians speak French as their second language, so they waited for their mother because she knew French. And when Mother came, the children waved at her, and she walked towards the children. And when she got to the children, they told her about the story of the man, and she started to speak to him in French. The man understood Mother immediately and answered her in French. So they both communicated in French, and Mother, after having a short conversation with the man, Mother walked to the station master and told him that she is going to take, that she was going to take that man home with her. The station master thought that she was foolish, she was crazy to do that, because the man might be a criminal, he might be dangerous, but Mother thought that the man was a good man, and she insisted on taking him home. When they went home, Mother made up a bed for for the Russian man, and she ordered the doctor for him. She sent Roberta to fetch the doctor. Roberta begged the doctor and told him that they couldn't pay his bill, and they didn't afford, or they couldn't afford his fee, but the man was very sick and he needed help. The doctor went with Roberta and examined the man, and he told Mother that he just needed to rest. The man just needed to rest and eat well. He just had a bit of a cough, and he needed to rest and eat well. Mother went to the attic and opened a large box full of men's clothes. Roberta immediately knew that these were Father's clothes. She asked Mother if Father was dead, but Mother said, or reassured Roberta, that Father was okay and one day he would come back to them. She gave the Russian man Father's clothes and let him wash under the bomb. And she took the children inside and told them the story of the Russian man. She told them that he was a refugee, and a refugee is a person who escapes a country because he needs to be safe or to feel safer. So the man was a refugee who escaped Russia because he was imprisoned when he spoke against the government. He stayed in prison for a very long time, and he escaped to look for his family and children who came to England while he was in prison. He came to England to look for his wife and children, and he didn't have any money. So Roberta noticed that Mother seemed very sorry for the man because he was in prison, and Mother told her that she felt very sad for all people in prison, and she asked the children to pray for them, or for every person or every innocent person who was in prison. And that's the end of chapter 5. Let's go on to the most important quotations. In page 33, lines number 10 until line number 14, and we have lines number 16, 17, and 18. And in this situation, we see how intelligent Peter was. He was quick to think of a solution to help the man, exactly like he did before with the coal. He was helpful and bright. He was smart, very smart. In page 34, we have, starting from line number 4 until line number 12, and from line number 14 till the end of the page. And in here, we see the whole family was generous and eager to help those in need. Although they didn't have enough money, they insisted on helping the poor foreign man. In page 35, the first 3 lines, and here we see the doctor and how the doctor was a very charitable character. He had a good conscience, wanting to help and fulfill his work duties, even though he knew the family didn't have money to pay his fees. In page 35, we have lines starting from line number 9 until line number 17, and for the first time we see how hopeful Mother was and how she believed that Father was coming back. We also see how concerned Roberta was about her father and his well-being. In page 36, we have, starting from line number 5 until the end of the page, and this shows how sorry Mother felt for the innocent people who were thrown in prison for no reason. She was caring when she asked the children to pray for them because she believed that it was important for a man to find his family, because she valued the importance of family union and the warmth of being together and not missing any member. Let's sum up the chapter. The children's mother had some business to the next town, in the next town, so she went to the station to wait. They went to the station to wait for her. While they were waiting, a crowd was gathered around someone. They went to check, and they saw a man with dirty, torn clothes. They tried to speak to the man, but they couldn't. Peter figured out that the man was Russian. They waited for their mother, who could speak French. When she arrived, she spoke to the man in French and knew his story, then she decided to take him home with her. She brought him the doctor, gave him some of father's clothes, and let him wash under the pump. Later, she told the children that the man was a refugee and was wrongfully imprisoned because he spoke against the government. He was in England searching for his family who had left Russia when he was in prison. She asked the children to pray for the man and for every innocent person in prison. The chapter in points, and here we have Peter, who was so intelligent and clever in figuring out the man's nationality, with the stamps and figuring that the man was Russian from the stamp. Mother was charitable and generous to take the man home and tend to his needs, although they didn't really have enough money for their own life. And the doctor was also one of the generous characters. He was charitable and compassionate when he wanted to help the family, knowing that they couldn't pay him his fees right away. That would be the end of chapter 5. Thank you for listening. I hope you understood well, and goodbye.